Hello, welcome to Low-sal-life. My name is Sarah, and today we're talking about why your low salicylate diet is not going to work. And I imagine this is two videos. This is going to be the environmental version of it. So what is going on outside of your diet where you're trying to start your low salicylate diet, or you've been on it for a long time but you're still having reactions, things that you may have overlooked and that you need to kind of keep an eye on in your environment to make sure that you're not going to get sick from it. So a lot of people will go on a low salicylate diet and they think that because they're having stomach problems or that they get sick after they're eating, that it's mostly food related. And that is true. And that was what happened in my case. I was strongly tracking food related issues. And so to me, it made sense that I would work on my diet. So when I had a reaction that led me down the path to find out that the food I was eating was high in salicylates, I got better, and that was amazing. But I didn't realize that I had all these other problems that were actually salicylate related, salicylate induced, that didn't have anything to do with my stomach, and sometimes it wasn't triggered by food. So with that, number one, I'm going to say is just perfumes, cleaners, anything that is an air freshener or aerosol in your home or workplace, get rid of it. What I ended up doing was I put it in a box, a big old Tupperware box, and I just put all of my products in there that I didn't want to get rid of, right? Like essential oils, my perfumes, fragrance deodorants, anything. I didn't have any air fresheners at the time. I could smell my neighbor's air fresheners, but I had no control over that. I asked my coworkers to stop wearing perfumes. I tried working remotely or working in an office that was, just a single office, and I had an office mate, so I asked them not to wear perfume. So there are ways to get around it, whatever your situation is, but get rid of the perfumes and the fragrance cleaners. Not every fragrance has salicylates in it, and that's something to consider, that you might be able to tolerate, like the smell of nail polish or acetone. Acetone doesn't have a salicylate in it, but it's not good for you by any means. But I'm just saying that not every fragrance has a salicylate in it. Until I had taken out all the salicylates in my diet, gone to a very low salicylate diet, I didn't realize how much perfumes and cleaners were affecting me. One of my most fierce reactions was going to an antique store in their basement. They actually had those mothball repellents, and I got so sick I could barely crawl out of that place. Like, I ended up having a breathing, kind of like an asthma attack. I just could not breathe by the time I got out of there. And I have a muscle disorder, and my muscles were just starting to like clamp up and just fail me, and like going up the stairs was terrible. So I just want to say, if you've tried a low salicylate diet and you did not also take out your perfumes or cleaners, do that. Because it's really not fair to say that you went low salicylate if you still were inhaling a lot of salicylates. Okay, number two is along the same lines, but a lot of people don't realize that your cosmetics actually have quite a few salicylates in it. And we actually have cosmetics that have salicylates added to it, like for acne. Salicylic acid is really common in both dandruff shampoo and for acne for your face, or body cleansers. Cosmetics can have natural products like coconut oil or avocado oil, or different high salicylate food and natural products in cosmetics. Again, you can have the essential oils. So something to think about. Try and go, like during the period where you're testing to see if low salicylates are going to improve your life, try and reduce as many of those cosmetics as possible. Try and go as natural as possible that you can. If you need some hair ideas or makeup ideas, I've got a few videos out, but try and find those lists so that you can really exclude those. Mint toothpaste, just don't do it. Like, get rid of that. I know the first month I went on a low salicylate diet and I was still using mint toothpaste, and I was still having sores in my mouth. So, you know, no surprise, give that a try. I'll also say that, like I mentioned, I had sores in my mouth or bleeding gums with mint toothpaste. Not all salicylates will give you a contact reaction. So if you are having a reaction, you know, if you put something on your face and you break out, then you could assume, oh, I put this on my face and I broke out and I had a reaction. But not everything works like that. So let's say you put coconut oil on your skin and your skin is fine. Matter of fact, it's actually softer the next day, right? And that means that it worked and you should use it again. But you also ended up with diarrhea or, you know, some other reaction, or your nose is still stuffy like it always is. It's possible, and this is what my issue is. Those salicylates go into your bloodstream and they get absorbed through your skin, and so those chemicals go into your bloodstream, and then it can affect any system in your body. It doesn't have to result in a reaction on your skin or where you put it. So something to think about. Some people who are really sensitive have very sensitive skin or can have a contact reaction. Contact means you put it on there and then that space immediately, you know, reacts. It might not be immediate, but that location reacts. That's the difference between a contact reaction and then the other one that I'm talking about, that systemic reaction where it goes into your body and it affects whatever weakness you have in your body. For me, muscle disorder, you know, breathing issues, headaches, you know, whatever it is, it can go and affect those different systems. My third item that people may overlook is wood products. So salicylates were kind of early discovered in willow bark, and willow bark is from a tree and the bark is the outside of the tree, and it's called salicylate in those cases, but it's a natural product found on plants, and we use plants to build our homes and heat our homes and have bonfires outside and that kind of thing. So some of my most fierce reactions have been from inhaling wood burnt that contains salicylates. Now, I'm not a wood expert by any means. I'm just saying that the possibility exists for certain woods to have salicylates in them. I am familiar with, and have not been able to go and find this study. So if you guys know which study I'm talking about, please leave it in the comments. But there was a 5 or 7 year old boy who had a salicylate reaction on his hands, and he ended up getting it because he was climbing willow trees in his backyard, and everywhere that he would touch the willow trees, he would end up with a reaction. And so that's something to think about. For me, I've had some really bad reactions from burning wood, and I specifically burnt birch wood with the bark at a campfire, and I felt so intoxicated after that reaction. I was really dizzy, faint, lightheaded, and I actually threw up that night. It was not a fun camping trip. And yeah, so some things to think about. I personally have had better luck with cedar. I haven't tried home burning at home. I know a lot of people will have reactions to Christmas trees. I was also a florist for a really long time, and I handled plants like 40 to 60 hours a week, where I would touch the bare stems and I worked with them all the time, and I shouldn't have done that. You just don't think about how often you actually touch natural items. And, you know, maybe you're in the environmental field. I'm a botanist now, so you know, when I go out, I have to be careful about what I touch, because I might not get that contact reaction, but I might be absorbing salicylates. So something to think about. The other thing with that, and you've noticed that I've done this for some of my cooking videos, when I am peeling food that has salicylates in it, when I'm peeling potatoes, peeling pears, peeling, 20 pounds of chayote, you want to make sure that you wear gloves, because you could totally be getting salicylates from that peel absorbed through your skin. So just something to think about too. And as far as that contact, same thought. This here kind of goes into the fragrance thing. I love thrift store shopping, and they spray down everything with Febreze, kind of like a Febreze spray. I get really sick when I go to the thrift store and I don't shop with gloves on, or if I touch the clothes for a really long time, or if I get secondhand clothes like off of eBay. I really do need to wash it right away, and I use gloves to open it so I don't absorb it into my bloodstream. So something to think about. There's just so many places that you can still absorb salicylates. Okay, number 4 is kind of obvious. A lot of people look at this, and it's obvious because aspirin, which is a medicine, is a salicylate. And that's our best known version of a salicylate, is aspirin. So aspirin is a medicine. It used to be derived naturally from willow and plants like that. But aspirin isn't the only medicine out there that has salicylates in it. So just kind of take a really close look at the medicines you're taking. If your doctor has you on like an aspirin regimen and you're trying a low salicylate diet, I don't think that that's going to work. I would ask to see if maybe you can try a different medicine instead of aspirin that doesn't have salicylates but has similar goals, and see if you can get off of that, switch to something else, and then try your low salicylate diet. Other things that people don't really think about are, and I'm going to say medicines and supplements, right? There's a lot of different supplements and natural medicines that people use. Things like icy hot, arthritic creams. I used to use those a lot. Pepto-Bismol, natural things like the turmeric and ginger and even peppermint tea, all those types of things. So you got a large swath of medicines, supplements, herbal treatments, essential oils that have salicylates in them. Think about like what could you take out for a little while you test this low salicylate diet, and then maybe you can add some of those things back later if you know for sure what's causing your pain. Number 5 is anything that you put in your mouth that would not normally be part of a diet. So diet, we think of calories in is what you count. This is what you eat. This is what you drink, right? That's what a diet is. But for a low salicylate diet, right, you have to think beyond just that. And so a lot of people may overlook things that they might put in their mouth that is not naturally, low in salicylates. So the 3 things that come to mind are gums. There's very, very few gums that are low in salicylates. I kind of played around with a natural lemon gum for a little while, but I finally ended up giving it up because every once in a while I would end up with swollen gums and I could not figure out if it was gum or not. I have seen a maple natural gum. I've been very curious to see if that is something that's okay. It does say maple flavor and not maple syrup, so I don't know if that would be okay or not. So if you are salicylate sensitive and you found a gum, put it in the comments. I want to see what it is. I will test it out myself. I'm very curious. But altogether, you really don't need gum. So, just do away with it. Or at least when you're in the testing phase, do away with it. Candies, anything almost all the candies are either really fruity or really minty. Any breath mint or that kind of thing, you just do away with them. I'm sorry. You might be able to get away with caramels and kind of like toffee kind of flavors, so that might be something that you could try. But especially when you're trying to figure out like if it's a if it's a salicylate sensitivity or not, I would just recommend you do away with that. And the third part of that, what you put in your mouth thing, I would also recommend, and I would just recommend it in general, but if you vape or smoke or chew, I would recommend really looking at those products and maybe considering finding one that might be lower in salicylates. So I would recommend a natural tobacco, but I don't know if tobacco is actually low in salicylates or not. But I know that anything that is mint flavored, those are really popular to have a mint flavored chew or a mint flavored cigarette, or the vaping, all the different flavors that they have. Some of my severe reactions for vaping is just walking past the vape and smoke tent at work. There's one that is the cotton candy one. That one is just pure poison. So I've gone on the forums, I've seen some people say that certain flavors are better than others. So maybe look and see if there's somebody that's using one that does vape that says, I do fine with this flavor. So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying that that might be one reason why you would never see results on the low salicylate diet. And the sixth thing that I'm going to say for environmental pressures that are affecting your diet and health would be other people and whether or not they're supporting you or not. So this is kind of a two-part thing. One, really get your family on board. It's really challenging if you are trying a low salicylate lifestyle and your partner is using, you know, fruity or floral or fragrant or cologne type products in the bathroom and you share that bathroom with them. It's just not gonna work. So especially if you can inhale it, you're not gonna put it directly on your body, but you could still be inhaling it. And that alone could be stalling your progress. My husband, right before I went low salicylate, I used to use the Jason peppermint toothpaste, which it was like the natural peppermint. I feel like they had C something in there, but I used it, I enjoyed it. It was a better toothpaste than the synthetic ones that I used to use. And so I stocked up on them. They were like buy one, get one free. And so I think I got like 4 tubes of toothpaste or something. And basically I went low sal and realized I can't use peppermint. And so I gave all the tubes of toothpaste to my husband and he's been slowly working through them. And even sometimes he will brush his teeth and we will, you know, kiss or whatever couples do, and I will get so sick from his mint toothpaste. It's not necessarily the contact for me, it's more of like that fragrance, the aerosol. And you know, when you've got lips touching, you know, it's a little bit more intimate and close. But I've had similar reactions while I've been driving. I'll have carpool passengers in my car. I actually have a no gum rule in my car. If they want to chew gum, they can use that natural lemon gum, which I don't have quite the same reactions to. So they can chew that in my car if they want to, but there is no mint or no cinnamon gum in my car. And I've had my dad get in my car after washing with Listerine and I'll be like, I'm sorry, you have to go and wash your mouth out, like eat an onion or something. I don't know, like I can't, it just hurts to inhale it. So all of that to say is just other people can make you sick. Even though you're doing everything right, you have to also consider what other people are doing and how it might affect your lifestyle. With that, I do recommend getting your family and friends on board with supporting you through this very challenging time, and try and just, you know, let them know in advance, hey, I'm fine carpooling to this hike with you, but I can't be around an air freshener in the car. My friend has little air fresheners in her car, and I would get sick because of that. I mean, she's got a whole bunch of kids. I totally understand why she has air fresheners, but if she can pull that out the day before so that I don't have to be sick when we drive somewhere with that fragrance in there, then I will be a much happier and much better person. All right, that's all I've got. 6 things that you may have overlooked when changing to a low salicylate lifestyle. And I hope that you have a wonderful week. In the comments, you know, mention if you've had any of these types of reactions before. I think it's really helpful for us to learn from other people. And, you know, try and be specific, especially if you have, so I mostly talk about salicylates because that's what I'm familiar with. I don't have an amine issue, but if you have a salicylate and amine issue, you know, do mention that and maybe why something affects you a little bit more. I really do appreciate all the comments. I am catching up on some of my comments. I'm a little bit behind. So if you've asked me a question or emailed me or commented, I am going to get back to it. Tomorrow is a holiday, so maybe that might be a good time for me to get on it. And another place to find me is on Instagram at Low-sal-life. I will see you next week, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Take care. Bye.